Enter Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst is a senator from Iowa. Joni Ernst ran as a rebel, as an outsider. Joni Ernst ran as someone that was going to try to change the business as usual process in Washington, D.C. Now, I've actually never met Joni. It's one of the few senators I have never had a chance to meet. I don't know her. I can't speak to her character, how she is. I'm sure she's very pleasant and very polite. Joni Ernst, though, has largely flown below the radar. She does not pick big fights. She goes with leadership. She is a neocon. Joni Ernst believes in invading the world and inviting the world. Joni Ernst is of the mold of Liz Cheney. And in fact, she palled around with Nikki Haley during this last primary. She showed Nikki Haley around at the Iowa State Fair. Joni Ernst, of course, has now made good, allegedly, with the Trump campaign and came and endorsed and all that. But make no mistake, this is a Liz Cheney type of foreign policy politician in the U.S. Senate. Joni Ernst herself wants to have Pete Hegseth's job. It's the worst kept secret in Washington, D.C. Joni Ernst wants to become the Secretary of Defense. And since she wants to become the Secretary of Defense, she has launched a very nasty, below-the-surface campaign to try and torpedo and thwart Pete Hegseth. And with that, go against President Trump. Joni Ernst has decided to play a little cutesy, to say, oh, I don't know if I'm for Pete Hegseth. You see, they're artificially trying to create a narrative that the women of the Senate are against Pete Hegseth because of an email his mom sent, and then she said that she didn't mean it. Now she's 100% behind her son, or because of the fake accusations of this woman that obviously was lying to Pete Hegseth in a Kavanaugh-type smear. So Joni Ernst is now being flushed out and is being singled out as being the reason why all of a sudden Hegseth is having all of these issues, all of these difficulties. This is Joni Ernst, who was asked a question today of whether or not she supports Pete Hegseth becoming the Secretary of Defense. Play cut 108. Let's play cut 108,
Will you support his nomination?
Well, I did have a very long, lengthy discussion with Pete yesterday, and I do appreciate his service to the nation. I also am a combat veteran. So we talked about a number of those issues, and we will continue with the vetting process. I think that that is incredibly important. So again, all I'm saying is we had a very frank and productive discussion, and I know that we will continue to have conversation in the upcoming months.
Back it up. Hold on a second. Wait, what is your objection then? That is military cabal doublespeak. And for the great patriots in Iowa, I hope you are listening carefully because you are not being represented well by Senator Ernst. Basically, she is defending a deep state at the Department of Defense. However, hold on a second. She won't commit to vote for Pete Hegseth. But do you know who she did vote for? And she wasn't alone. Let's put 109 up on screen. This is Joni Ernst's boy. This is Joni Ernst's man right there. Boom, center stage. Lloyd Austin. Joni Ernst voted for that man. Wearing 3 masks. Walking through, I think it was the Philippines. Lloyd Austin, the secretary under Joe Biden. There's so much that we can spend on Lloyd Austin, but do you remember when he was hospitalized and his chief of staff didn't tell the president for several days? That is Joni Ernst. Now, Joni Ernst is not saying one way or the other, but this is the new playbook of what the Senate is trying to do. The Senate is trying to stop Trump's agenda before it gets to a vote. Now, Lloyd Austin, who Joni Ernst voted for, and so did Deb Fischer and Hoeven and Lankford and Roger Wicker and John Thune, they all voted for Lloyd Austin. That man up on screen. They all gave Biden his boy. They all gave Joe Biden his defense secretary. They all gave Joe Biden his Secretary of Defense, his Secretary of State. However, when it comes to Pete Hegseth, they come up with all of this, well, you know, there's a lot of accusations. What accusations exactly bother you? Oh, no, what bothers you, and now we're getting down to the essence, is that Pete Hegseth is focused on the U.S. military on lethality. Ooh, Joni Ernst doesn't like that. She wants bureaucracy. Do you see the difference? Pete Hegseth wants lethality. Joni Ernst wants bureaucracy. Here's a little bit of a gaggle of Around the Horn of Lindsey Graham, of Roger Wicker, who is the chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee, of them all kind of going around the horn. And this shows you how much the U.S. Senate does not care about you. And it is time that we start to increase the temperature, everybody. Start calling Senate offices. This Pete Hegseth thing has gone on way too long, way too far. Now, I was willing to kind of give them, okay, advise and consent. And now they're playing games. Why? Joni Ernst herself wants to become Secretary of Defense. Let's play cut 99.
There are questions that some members have, and we're going to be working for an answer.
Are you among the members who have questions?
Well, I'm looking to be supportive.
The articles I've read, some of them are concerning. I don't know if it's true or not, but he'll go through the process. He'll be asked about it. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm being careful until I hear everything. I've never had a chance to talk with them or meet with them yet, and I think that's all part of a very important process.
Okay, but you notice none of them gave that kind of double talk to any Biden's defense nominees. In fact, we pulled up the roll call of Joe Biden's nominee, Lloyd Austin. Do you know that Lloyd Austin, that joke to our country? Keep that image up on screen. I want that tattooed into the memory of our audience right now. He received 93 votes from the U.S. Senate and only 2 no votes. Do you know the only 2 no votes were Josh Hawley and Mike Lee? And then there were 5 people that weren't there, that were just absent. 93 yes votes. 93. Pete Hegseth, if he survives, will probably be at 50 or at 51. Why is it that Republican senators are so excited and move fast to give Joe Biden his nominees, but Republican senators don't want to give Donald Trump his nominees? What is going on here? Well, we're going to keep on naming the names and tell you more about the folklore of Joni Ernst and Roger Wicker and Deb Fischer. And this is the red line. This is not a joke, everybody. The funding is already being put together. Donors are calling like crazy. Primaries are going to be launched. The old RNC, the old way of doing things is dead, okay? You think that we at Turning Point Action, Turning Point PAC are just going to kind of rest on our laurels? No. Again, if you support the president's agenda, you're good. You're marked safe from a primary. You go up against Pete Hegseth, the president, repeatedly, then don't be surprised, Joni Ernst, all of a sudden you get a primary challenge in Iowa. Don't be surprised, Mike Rounds, when you get a primary challenge. And guess what? We might be successful in doing so. We don't get a mandate like this from the American people just to have it thwarted by a bunch of dorks that we never heard of from the U.S. Senate, twiddling their thumbs and protecting the war machine. Done. And if we have to fire you through a primary, that is what we will have to do.